What was that? Hey, what's up, Nerd fam? This is your boy Gashan. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today we talk about Mortal Kombat. I don't know what that was on HBO Max. I'll just say I had a lot of high hopes, but I had a bad feeling about it. I had this creeping feeling about it. I was talking to a lot of my friends about it before the movie came out. I'm like, something just seems weird about it. The more they keep showing, the more I'm having my doubts. And mind you, in the earlier video I made, I had some hopes because of this video the director put out. And let's just say, he let me down, man. Let me down. So, how? What was wrong with this movie? Let's count the ways, right? So let's just talk about the main thing. This is a movie based off of a video game, right? Not just any video game, a fighting game, right? So, how was the fighting in this movie? So starting from the whole Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight that was in the first 10 minutes, very clunky, not very assassin-like, not very smooth, except for like Scorpion doing what he did to the rest of them, but just when Sub-Zero got to him, it was so weird. It was so weird. It just wasn't very good. It was very slow, not as crisp, and both of those actors we've seen in much better choreographed fights, which was something that the director of this movie was boasting about, right? So imagine my surprise when these fights kind of sucked. The next fight was obviously that mess that happened between Sonya, Kano, Cole, and actually before that, it was Cole getting his ass kicked inside of an MMA match, which, you know, funny, our lead guy, right? One of the many times in this movie he gets his ass kicked, right? But after that, they get their ass kicked by a giant iguana, who I guess is supposed to be Reptile, right? That was kind of weird. And obviously Kano, the savior of the movie, by the way, in case you didn't know, pulls his heart out and does the whole Kano wins bit. And even then you had like Sonya do this weird Psycho Crusher type maneuver, which just looked bad. Just wasn't very good. The fighting wasn't very good. The best fight scenes in this movie were easily Sonya versus Kano at the end of the movie. Like, you felt a lot of the urgency. I love fights with a sense of urgency, and they use their surroundings very, very well. And the little microtransactions of a fight scene, the little tiny things, they made it matter, and I liked it in that scene, which I was very surprised at because a lot of the other stuff was just kind of trash. And even before getting to the final fight scene with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, which they kept advertising, which obviously did a lot because it had a lot of the storyline in that fight. You have, you know, Kung Lao doing the whole fatality to, what was that? Oh, sorry, flawless victory to Natara, who was whatever. We'll get to the character and stuff like that later. And obviously the fatality that Liu Kang did to Cabal and Melina fighting and all these things. So, I mean, obviously in the ending fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, a lot of the video game stuff was there. The ice clone, him sliding, him making the ice wall, him saying get over here. It was a lot like the video game homages. Even the other fights, they had weird things like finish him and fatality, you know, just very out of place stuff. It was so weird, right? So yeah, starting with the fights, which is very weird, all the way up until the end, wasn't very good. Moving on, story. You know, apparently Hanzo Hasashi's or Scorpion's bloodline is just so important that for some reason Cole Young is like the savior of all of it. Like, he's the key. Why? We don't know. Also, everyone gets their powers. All the special abilities of the fighters are coming from this tattoo because they're chosen. These random powers. Not the reasons they get them in a video game, which actually make more sense. I don't understand why certain directors just want to change things and make things their own when the actual original source material, the game, actually does this a lot better. Like, Jax getting his arms, obviously how he gets them ripped off has actually changed in different times in the game, but the arms were always either an enhancement or a replacement to the arms that he already had. Sonya Blade had those powers, that pink beam that came out was an actual bracelet. It wasn't Arcana, right? Kung Lao and Liu Kang trained to be like that, and obviously the other monks weren't like that because they were prodigies and stuff, right? And obviously Sub-Zero is part of a cryomancer race of people, so also not that. Very, very odd. And how did Scorpion become a wraith? He just willed himself in hell to become a wraith, and he was just terrorizing all his descendants in the mirror, looking at them and stuff like that. Like, I remember me and my friends were talking about that. Like, so he was just doing that because they said him and Sub-Zero apparently had that fight centuries ago. So he's been just grimacing at them for centuries, right? Which is, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And just going over some of the characters, we can just do it very weird. Sonya, whack. Jax should have died after hitting the floor, after getting his arms taken off, but still, obviously Sub-Zero and Scorpion had the most put into them, but Sub-Zero didn't really look like Sub-Zero. Like, they were like already transitioning him into Noob Saibot, and as soon as the shoulder pads came off, he pretty much was Noob Saibot in terms of look. Scorpion obviously had very limited parts. It really, his bloodline, like, he lived a lot through Cole. Cole was kind of irrelevant, even though like he was made to be important in the storyline, but it was like, yeah, he was important because he told you, but we didn't really care about it. And his Arcana turning into like this armor, pretty much he had the ability to get his ass kicked. He absorbed all the punishment he had, right? I mean, hell, he's pretty much told to go home because he sucked. He's like, your Arcana, like Raiden said, go home, be with your family, after his Arcana wasn't developing. It's like, okay, so he sucks. He sent them out there knowing that Goro or somebody was gonna come after him. Yeah. And then Goro, who is normally the champion, the one that's been winning all the tournaments, isn't. He's just a Shokan there to help. And Cabal, mind you, the design of Cabal was really cool, but his voice, he sounded like Stryker, and pretty much what he said to Kano, he was like, name your price, double it, and then double it again, and that's what you're gonna get. And that's all it took. Kano was running a criminal enterprise, and that's all it took to get in the bitch. Whatever. Now, mind you, Kano is once again the saving grace of this. He's hilarious. He stole all the show that he was in. I loved him. I loved that character, right? But a lot of the acting overall was just kind of stale. Like Ludi Lin was kind of stale as Liu Kang. It was just weird. It was just a lot of like little moments where they just named him, I'm Kung Lao, just so like in the theater people could go woo and stuff like that, right? And like, are we gonna say like this guy's Arcana was one teleport and mostly his hat? Really? And then they killed him in this one, like very, very quickly. Natara was supposed to be, oh, look at how beautiful she is. Look at her flying. Dead. Dead. She got one-shotted. Thanks. Melina, someone who should never have been in this game. And Reiko, both of them shouldn't have never been in this movie because they're super important to the Edenia storyline, which is Shao Kahn and Sindel and Katana and Rain and Jade and, you know, possibly Tanya. All these things should have been saved for the second movie. But instead, they were brought here, killed for no reason. Especially because Reiko actually stands in for as Khan in the other stories. Look, there's so much source material about this. I don't know where they were going with this. I have no idea where they were going with this. And this is actually makes a lot of trouble for the sequels because they've messed up a lot of things that would have led here. Like, where's Quan Chi? Because Quan Chi's the one that's supposed to make Scorpion a wraith. He's not there. He's not there. So maybe he can come in later. But what role is he gonna play? Katana's just gonna come out of nowhere. Are they gonna do the Tarkatans? There was no tournament. There was no tournament. They were just fighting to prevent the tournament from even happening. So technically, the Earth is still in danger. So why did we watch this movie? What was the point of this movie? It was called Mortal Kombat, but that tournament didn't happen. So the second movie is gonna have a tournament? Why? What the hell did we just watch? This didn't make any sense. We've got 11 games that are filled with more than one continuity, all of which at least have an explanation as to who the characters are, why they do what they do, how they can do what they do, and how they end up where they are. It's already written for them. And in this one, they managed to not explain any of the things that I just named just now. In an hour and 50 minutes. And it was like, this was just Mortal Kombat by name. These characters were just the characters by name. But they didn't do justice to any... Now, mind you, I see some people like this movie. Maybe they never played the game. So anyone who thinks that the storyline is anything like the game should stop. The fact that something like as simple as a bicycle kick looked better in the 1995 movie Mortal Kombat, Robin Shao did it, and it looked terrible here. Come on, you can do better than that. We have so much choreography. Look at the raid. Look at John Wick movies. They have so much great fighting choreography out right now. And this is what we get for a fighting game? The fighting should have been the number one focus. And then the story. But instead it was like, I don't know. And obviously the settings, they sucked, right? Outworld looked terrible. They all kind of look the same. And Raiden's temple was just some plain cavern somewhere. It was like, I don't know. And they definitely had the budget. They had the budget. But it's like I don't know where they put it. I don't know what happened here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm a person who loves the movies. I'm a person who's cosplayed as some of the characters before. Written some of my own like fan fiction to it. It's really I love it, right? But this just wasn't very good. Just wasn't good. Let me know what you think. If you're like, hey, yeah, I love this. It was a great movie. Or if you're like, yeah, let me down. As a fan of the series, let me down. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Whether you agree or disagree, let's talk about it. And keep on playing these games. And don't forget to enter the nerd.